Hi everyone, we are starting with a video session right now, and this is me. I'm Vaishakh here, and with me is Rohit.
Hi everyone.
So we don't know how our video session will go. We are doing it for the first time. We are also excited. We hope it goes well. Let's come to the topic. On last Saturday, it was revealed that MS Dhoni, he's deciding to retire from Indian cricket, and this came, like a huge surprise for many. Uh, Even though like there were rumors since the end of the last World Cup that he'll be retiring, and he's 40 plus. Given his dip in form, it is obvious that he will not be playing the 2023 World Cup. The speculation was that he will be playing the T20 World Cup, a last attempt to win a major trophy, and then hanging his boots. But T20 World Cup was scheduled for this year, and it should be happening now if it had not been for the COVID break. So it looks like we guessed our timeline correctly. Dhoni has, he did not care if the T20 World Cup happened or not. He has retired. We generally plan to limit our podcast to 15 minutes. I don't think we can be able to do it. And as die-hard cricket fans, it is impossible to do a tribute to MS Dhoni's career even in a 3-hour session. So, I mean, we have rather decided to discuss 3 topics over here and give our opinion on each of them. So, number 1, how legendary a player is MSD? And Rohit, what do you admire in him?
Oh wow. Okay, that's a very broad question. So I will tackle that in 3 steps. First, Dhoni, the ODI player. Now, Dhoni's performance is purely as an ODI player is like worthy of legendary. 10,000 plus runs, but over 50 average, strike rate of 87. These are numbers of really great batsmen. Just to give you an understanding, let's put like say Lara. He has better average and strike rate than Lara, and now that is saying something in itself. Then if you compare his batting stats to Lara or say Ponting or other ODI batting grades, he's up there with most of them, if not better than them. So now just adding his wicket keeping to it. Now the numbers of wicket keeping itself again makes him legendary. He's like I think has a 3rd highest dismissals among all wicket keepers. So again, from an ODI point of view, as a wicket keeper alone or as a batsman alone, he's up there with the very best. So in ODI, he is a legend and there is no two way about it. Now, second step, Dhoni as a captain. Dhoni has played 200 of his 350 ODIs as captain, and his stats as captain was superior than as a non-captain. In simple terms, he has scored more runs as a captain. Obviously, he has played more matches, has scored more runs. But even his batting average while as captain has been better than when it is as non-captain. Now, his batting average while as a captain is around 53 and as a non-captain around 46. Again, both of those individually are great numbers, but just to iterate that, what I want to say is that captaincy has not affected his batting, and that is something very important. A lot of times we hear about how captaincy influences certain players, but in this case, captaincy has, I would say, inspired him to do better. And he is someone who is a natural captain. And now, from his accolades as a captain, he has pretty much won everything available to him in ODIs. He I think he's the only captain to win all 3 ICC trophies. That is ODI World Cup, T20 World Cup, and the Champions Trophy. And it's not just about winning the big titles. He also brought in the consistency to the team as a captain. And in fact, he currently holds the record of winning the most matches for India as a captain. Now that is in ODIs, T20s, and even overall. That's including all 3 facets together. Even in Test, where he had his ups and downs as a captain, he did win us what was then a record number of matches as captain, 27 matches. And he also took us to the pinnacle of Test ranking, world number 1. So yes, his Test record as a captain is not outstanding. And again, a lot of that has to do with because he was taking the team through a transition phase. And also some of it is because of the tactics, because he he's someone who depended predominantly on spin, and also always had a first defense approach, which really did not help him while going in away matches. But overall, as a captain, he is a legend. He was a legend. And definitely, I'm not talking this in terms of Indian standards. Indian standards, he's by far the best. Even from an all-time captaincy standards, his ODI numbers are definitely worthy of legend. And I would say, overall captaincy, I would put them up there. Now coming to the third facet, which is the test player. Now, people do not rate him as a great test player, and I understand that completely. Or I wouldn't say completely. I would say I understand that somewhat. Because given that how great an ODI player is, he couldn't reach the same standards in test. But then wicket keeping and batting in test is different. And I'm sorry, wicket keeping and batting in test is difficult, and that is clearly shown by other players. You must have seen Sangakkara and AB de Villiers. They chose to become pure batsmen because they couldn't manage both jobs. And Dhoni did both jobs through his test career. So, I put up some stats. I pulled up some stats here. And you can see from the stats that Dhoni as a wicketkeeper in test is clearly the best for India. And, I have not compared with India. I've actually brought in numbers throughout the world. And you can see he has third highest run scoring in the history of wicketkeepers in cricket. So that's amazing, and that's up there with the best. And not only in batting, as a keeper, we rarely doubt his skills as a keeper. Even in that, you can see that he has, I would say, one of the best all-time numbers. Again, I'm just pulling up the numbers, and you can see that he's fifth highest as an all-time wicketkeeper. So that's again up there with the greats. And I did not specifically pull numbers of Indians there, because I can tell you because I did some research into it, and the closest Indian to him is Kirmani, and he has the second most dismissals, even though he has played equal number of matches or nearly equal number of matches, and that is runs. I think Kirmani had around 2,000 runs less than Dhoni, and 100 dismissal less than Dhoni, 2,000 runs less than Dhoni, even to a similar number of matches. That just shows, from Indian perspective, he is great. So, anyways, coming to legendary status, I think I feel even as a test player, he is a legend, and these numbers back it up. Anyways, I can keep going about it, but I'm just stopping here. So, Vaishakh, how do you rate about it?
Yeah, I think you did send me those Cricinfo stats, but I don't know how to put that in the video. We will have to think, we will have to put that in the video and show it as well, or else we'll refer to the Cricinfo stats which you referred when you talked about it. Coming to the point, I do not think there should be much of a discussion whether he's a legend or not. Like, he's a player who's admired and respected by our fiercest rivals like Pakistan and Australia. I know they won't recognize someone without any talent, So he revolutionized ODI captaincy. His understanding of the limited overs game is exceptional. And he's the best captain of, any country has ever had a limited overs format. His record in IPL and for Indian national team speaks for it. And I think you have laid a good foundation for it. Let me just draw a picture on how the legendary status, how he grew into us. So when he came into picture in 2005, he was looked merely as a keeper who's good with the bat, because we wanted someone to move on. He announced himself with the bat, after that Visakhapatnam innings against Pakistan, where he scored the century, and there were some helicopter shots in it. That was the moment, you picked him as someone interesting. And you started looking at his batting seriously after his 183 against Sri Lanka. And that changed our perspective. And, it started bringing excitement when he comes to bat. But even then, the impression about him was, like an amazing pinch hitter. The series where I actually started admiring his batting was when he toured Pakistan, and Dhoni steered a couple of chases with maturity. Another thing that amazed me in that tour was when, the then captain Sourav Ganguly, who used to approach a newcomer, MS Dhoni, before setting his field. So, like, we could actually see Ganguly taking Dhoni's input, his proper input before taking any field decisions. And that is when, you realized we are in for a gem. And he turned out to be one of the best captains in it. It started with that T20 International World Cup win, his captaincy tenure. Said all that, even in the 2007-8 period, he was not, he was only appreciated for his batting. His keeping was just enough to keep him in the team. But you could see, the man is constantly evolving. He does some out of the box things, and that improved tremendously. His stumping, his throwing improved after 2007-8, and it all is out of the box things. How many times have you seen him stopping late cuts with the leg, raised leg like a goalkeeper save? How many times have you seen him doing a no-look run out? How many times have you seen him doing like a single follow-through stumping? How many times have you seen him pretending the throw is coming to the other end and, at the last moment taking the bails off? So in short, number one, captaincy and leadership skills to manage crucial moments in all formats. The best in limited overs format in captaincy, because his reading of the game was better in the limited overs format. Number two, he's the most effective wicketkeeper I have seen in any format. Every format. Test matches, it is more important. Number three, he's one of the best middle order batsmen in the limited overs format. Now, that is, let's forget his keeping. Just batting is one of the best middle order batsmen in limited overs format. Why? Because the important aspect over here is his calmness and maturity to, steer a batting collapse. You are a middle order batsman. You are coming into bat if there is a collapse. And the reliability with which he does it time and time, I have to say he's one of the best middle order batsmen in limited overs format. And number four, let's not forget his trophy cabinet. To be the best in the game in like three aspects is enough to call one a legend. And the man has converted his skills into trophies as well. So I rest my point over there.
Oh, interesting observation, Vaishakh. I completely agree with you. That is what's special about such legends. You have so much to talk to. Initially you said we will not be able to stop at 15 minutes. Even we are trying to contain things. There's so much to talk, and the views, what we are sharing about the same person is so different. So, now let's move forward anyways. So now we have to say, now Vaishakh, if you have to put up, say, what is that one moment of MSD that can be called as the, say, highlight moment of his career? What will you say that was for him, or maybe from your perspective?
That's a tough question. So what I have done is I have put some strong contenders for it. So one of them is his final over to Joginder Sharma in 2007 T20 World Cup. Number two would be his 2011 World Cup final innings. That iconic six to win it. Then Ishant Sharma's over in the 2013 Champions Trophy final. That is, I remember that a lot. Then the last over by Pandya in the 2016 T20 International World Cup, against Bangladesh, that ended with an iconic run out. Dhoni taking his gloves off smartly and getting the run out. But I think the iconic moment has to be, him looking at the ball and racing past, that the ball racing past the sky in 2011 World Cup final. I know he's slowly realizing that he has achieved his dreams. That face said it all. And I think that has to be the iconic moment for me.
Yes, I have to agree with you. If I have to pick a highlight moment, I think that's the one. It's impossible to look past that six at Wankhede to win India the ODI World Cup for the first time in 28 years. Wow, I know that commentary that goes on with it. It's amazing. I can watch the video over and over again. As a sports fan, even though I have watched Aguero score that last-minute winner to win the Premier League, or Djokovic hit an unbelievable return to post an incredible comeback from 2 sets behind over Federer in the US Open, or even the 2019 World Cup, which is special for what Stokes did in the World Cup or in the final moments. But take all that, still that six at Wankhede, personally for me, is a super or the most special moment in sports. That shot has been etched into my memory forever. You might remember, and simple that for us personally, you might remember that we watched that moment together in our final year in hostel. So, that shot also brings back beautiful memories for me on how we were at that time, watching that match in that college atmosphere. It was special. So, and it will always be special for me. So, that is, as I say, that's my sporting highlight. Having said that, you did say that, how couple of tactics which you mentioned, which can be other highlights. I want to add on something else that was there and that stays in my memory. Again, something that takes you back to 2008 when he just took up the role of leadership. There was a match against Australia in 2008, and we were leading the series 1-0 up, and I think 1-0 up, yes. And it was going to the final match, and Dhoni, we didn't post a big total, and Australia were in a good position. And Dhoni comes with this weird strategy of having an 8-1 field, deployed. That is amazing. And, with that field strategy, the players suddenly, the scoring went down, the rate went down. And the batsmen there, experienced batsmen, I think it was Kathi and Hussey at that time, they were not sure on what to do. And they were struggling on how to score runs. And, that, and eventually, they tried scoring runs and they succumbed to their strategy and they started losing wickets. And India went on to win the match, So that is one of the special strategies which I feel, I felt at that moment was actually maybe overlooked, or even people did say it was negative, but I felt that was a special strategy to win. It was within the laws, and he did a very good way of deploying it. And that is something which Dhoni at his young age or early years of captaincy had. And obviously you did mention out or single out few other strategies of Hardik Pandya bowling or Jogendra Sharma bowling those final overs. Yes, those are out of the box strategies again. Dhoni has a few, but yes, I like to stop here because we can keep going. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, that was really a smart move. I mean, I remember it exactly. The fourth test, it's the test after Anil Kumble retires. And yeah, wonderful. I mean, I remember Australia was dominating that test in the first 2 days as well. And, one session was enough to break their confidence and, you got back into the match. So let us get to the third question. Did you feel that Dhoni retired at the right moment?
Okay. Now, there's no right moment to retire. It's very difficult. It's definitely, I believe retiring or timing and retiring is one of the most difficult things to do. So anyways, in test, what he did was suddenly in middle of a tour, he retired, and that was totally unexpected. And, it was also too casual, and that is how Dhoni was, and that is his style. Coming to limited overs, personally, I would have thought Dhoni will retire as soon as the 2019 World Cup got over, because I felt his batting was on the decline since, say, the Champions Trophy in England in 2017. And, as you mentioned, with no foreseeable ODI tournaments coming after 2019 World Cup, I felt that was the right time to retire. And maybe, I felt he wanted to go out with a bang. So maybe he wanted to play the 2020 World Cup, T20 World Cup. But then again, it did not happen this year. So I think he took his time to announce his retirement, which I feel is not something that is too delayed. Maybe I don't know how to judge it, whether the right moment, but I would say, I would give him the benefit of doubt. I would say not a wrong moment, definitely. What did you make of it?
Yeah, with the stars of yesteryears, there were constant discussions, whether they should be hanging the boots or not. And just as I mentioned in my previous answer, Anil Kumble retiring. I mean, that's one of the discussions we had in the hostel for a long on the fifth day of that test. And I remember, we going for the tea of that test and discussing why is Anil Kumble not retiring or something, and coming back and knowing that Anil Kumble has already retired. That was so spontaneous, Anil Kumble's retirement. So I remember we having this discussion over and over for those stars. But, one difference with MS Dhoni's character is that it is quite evident, he will do it once the time is right. So we never had this discussion. Is it the right time for MS Dhoni to retire? None of the Indian fans ever had. I mean, most of us clearly never discussed about it. I'm sure about that. And the way he announced his retirement from Test cricket as well, the moment he saw the team needs a transition, he's not contributing much to the team as a player, or nor his Test captaincy is of great value, in that format, in an Australian condition. So even though his game has slightly diminished over the years, he's still very important for the leadership in the limited overs format, and he felt he had to stick in around. But in Test, he was quick to take the decision. And you mentioned about, Dhoni's drop in standards in 2017. And I would think Dhoni would be the first person to step out, regardless, of that press conference in 2015, where one journalist asked him, why, what is your plan for 2019? And he made the journalist convince and say that, you should be playing the 2019 World Cup. Despite all that, he would be the first person to step out. But, the problem here, I think, is I feel BCCI has been slow to recognize the next keeper, and we couldn't carry on the transition. And Dhoni, who maybe in 2015 he expected himself to be at the top of the world in 2019. Why shouldn't he not? Considering the shape he was in 2015 and the kind of impact he made in 2015, just coming into the team, we were not playing that good in Australia, and suddenly we looked as a team who can, possibly win the 2015 World Cup. So, he was not ready to give up his promise. But now, since there are 3 more years to the 2023 World Cup, it would be really hard for him to stick around. And I think it's quite evident that Dhoni thinks that he's not part of the project. He should not be part of the project, and he should, force India to, make the transition. So he knew with the Indian culture, he had to make that call. And I feel this is a lesson that, other Indian cricketers should learn from a star like Dhoni. So let's conclude here. We have covered our 3 questions. All of us cricket fans would like to talk about more questions, maybe about Dhoni. But if you have anything, really to say about these 3 questions, especially about these 3 questions, please write in the comment box. We really want to hear about you. This is someone so special for all of us. And like the video, share with your friends if you can. We really want to hear from you what you think about MS Dhoni. Subscribe to our channel to get notified for new videos. And we are stopping here. Until next time, stay safe.